Hello everyone, just a quick word from your friendly editor/husband. For all of you who listen to So I'm Watching This Show and own an Android device, do me a favor. Go to the Google Play Store and download the Podcast Republic app. It's a fantastic app that allows you to get all of your favorite podcasts directly on your Android devices. I use the app and love it. I can search for the podcasts I want to listen to, select them as favorites, and have them all just a click away. Make sure you set So I'm Watching the Show as a favorite so you don't miss any new episodes. Again, the app is Podcast Republic, available on your Android device. Thanks!
I'm in a little bit of a mood right now. I don't know if you can tell, but...
Yeah, it's... You're not subtle. I didn't have an amazing day either, so...
I didn't have a bad day. I didn't
have a bad day, it just wasn't great.
I was irritated many times throughout the day.
Me too.
Oh, okay.
Well, you posted that photo of whichever stupid Jenner.
Oh, come on. You know which one it is.
In the... Kylie?
Yeah.
In her... Is it her boyfriend?
Yeah.
Boyfriend in the Iron Man, and she's in Captain Marvel.
So there was a new Kylie single, Kylie Minogue single today, which we may or may not get to depending on how this episode goes.
Yeah.
And so I was looking for it, and as in the hellscape that is 2020.
When you search for Kylie.
You get that. And my brain rejected it. Mm-hmm. I had to look at it like 3 times to understand what was happening because it looked so wrong to me.
Yeah.
I could not understand what I was seeing. And when I realized it was cosplay of her, like, Halloween costume, her boyfriend was Iron Man and she was sexy Captain Marvel. And I was offended.
Yeah.
Like, I was actually offended.
Well, to the point where you were like, it's not even good fiction, and I was like, I would rather die than read that fan fiction.
Like Superman and Wonder Woman, it should be kind of like, I don't know. Yeah. I mean, maybe.
Yeah, Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, yeah. Twice on Sundays.
Nothing about it worked and made sense to me. But it also wasn't even timely. I was like, what?
No, definitely, yeah.
Which, actually, now that I think about it, might have been from Halloween last year. I don't know. I did not research it, so maybe it was timely for Captain Marvel.
Yeah, but still.
It just, like, arguably, and I understand not everybody is a Pepper Potts stan, I get it, but there are other grand dames in the MCU.
Yeah.
And it's just...
Like, I would have been okay with Black Widow.
Yeah. Well, it's like Pepper Potts is like the grand dame of the MCU. Black Widow is like the OG female team member.
Yeah, Maria Hill. I mean, like,
Peggy Carter is
get a deep cut in there.
It just
even leaving aside that
I'm not recording.
Oh shit! God damn it!
I got it now.
You're the worst.
Well, I told you that I haven't developed a new routine yet. Too many things have changed. I'm recording now. I'm properly recording. Some of that intro might be salvaged. Hello, everybody. I am Will.
And I'm Kristin.
And this is So I'm Watching the Show, your twice-weekly pop culture podcast where we talk about movies, TV, music, and more. This is a spoiler show, but since we're dealing with something new, we'll probably ease in.
Yeah.
So you probably got a few minutes, and we tend to give you a hastily blurted spoiler alert.
In fairness, too, though, this is not the type of thing where you're gonna be like, oh my God.
I mean, it's a literal mystery.
Yeah, but it's
Sherlock Holmes is the character in this
I know,
movie.
But I feel like you have to know that they're going to figure it out.
Well, so who's the person being like, I'm not going to go see that mystery movie because they're going to figure it out?
No, I just like, okay, fine.
It is very prescient in this episode.
All right. I guess it is like a full whodunit. I don't know. The thing for me is like, I understand spoilers, like, if you don't want to know like what the like answer is, then yes, we will address that more towards the end. But for me, I'm usually don't care about spoilers in movies like this,
where there's an actual thing to be spoiled.
No, okay. It's not like twisty. There's a mystery, but it's not like twisty.
Okay.
It's just the type of thing where I like know that everything's going to turn out okay, so I'm not worried at any point.
I would be mad if
someone told you.
Well, I mean, okay, I don't understand the conversation we're having right now. So I have a full-blown, very heated Netflix rant.
Oh.
Should we open with that, or should we save it for...
We can open with it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about the new Netflix movie, Enola Holmes, which it was meant to be a theater movie, and Netflix acquired it.
Okay.
Which is probably why it was pretty good.
Yeah.
I was very, very loyal and passionate about Netflix for the better part, actually for 10 years.
I was going to say at least. We were getting Netflix when I was still in college.
Yeah. And they have...
When it used to come in the mail.
Mm-hmm. They have pissed me off, right so.
It's been like, the issue is not that it's like, it wasn't one thing. It was like that one other thing. Because it just kept... It's been happening now for like 4 years.
I'm properly angry.
Yeah.
Like, we're gonna cover a few more Netflix things that we're already in the middle of. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm watching Bly Manor. We're gonna talk about it. We're probably gonna cover Witcher when it comes back, what have you.
I'm also not opposed to continuing to cover the movies, but I am like...
Some, maybe, if we need to.
I'm at the end of my rope with the series.
No, I'm not. As evidenced by the fact that you're not listening to Ratched right now, which we, by all means, should be, because it's been #1 for over a week.
Yeah.
And it is very much our brand.
Yeah, I don't know. I just like have also heard only bad things about it.
Yeah, but from the people that's from like proper critics who are like watching things. I mean, it's like, as far as Ryan Murphy nonsense, I mean,
fair enough.
It's glamorous, gay, psychosexual bullshit. But I'm pissed. I am properly pissed. It's taken me a while because I wanted to make sure that I wasn't overreacting or acting passionately or whatever. But basically, Netflix canceled The Society season 2 less than a week before they were to begin production.
Yeah.
And
after all the COVID stuff, because they were meant to start on like March 15th.
And the cast like already had plane tickets and stuff. Yeah. They were packing when they found out. And they're trying to pretend that it's because of COVID. And I think that's adorable because Netflix is $1 billion in debt.
Right.
There's literally no...
Well, they've like never actually turned a profit.
Yeah. And it's like, and their ratings, they don't release their ratings. Mm-hmm. They're beholden to nothing or no one. Yeah. And it's like, it's one thing to cancel a show. It's another thing to essentially commit to a ambitious high concept mystery. Mm-hmm. When Walt Disney once said never be cheap.
Okay.
If you're cheap, they'll figure it out and they won't come back. If you surpass their expectations, they'll never abandon you. And
then he almost went bankrupt, oil painting the cell or every single cell in Sleeping Beauty, and it worked.
And my initial assessment of Netflix was that they actually respected and valued their brand, their customers, and the art. Yes, I know this is a business. I understand. Yeah. I understand how that works. But they were and are in a position to have an integrity in what they do. And they launched with 3 shows, Hemlock Grove, mm-hmm.
House of Cards,
and Orange is the New Black. And they finished each of those shows. Yeah. People forget about Hemlock Grove because it was terrible.
And it only went for 3. The other 2 went for like 7.
And the finale was phoned the fuck in, but it was there.
Yeah.
And it earned what I thought was going to be lifetime loyalty from me. And then, 5 years later, they just decided to throw money literally at the wall, figuratively at the wall, and see what sticks.
So I agree with you, because that's part of my issue, is it's like, you can't wake up without something premiering on Netflix, mm-hmm. like daily, which is, in a sense, it's great, because I think it is opening up a lot more people to being able to get their content somewhere. However, I feel like
and also for movies, I think that's fine.
For movies, it's fine. But I also think just simply, like you said, throwing all of the content at the wall to see what sticks is not a viable business plan. And when they have a loyal fan base, whether it's small or not, I think they need to be catering to that more than they do.
Well, and the thing is, it's a viable plan until it isn't.
Yeah.
And as far as I'm concerned, it isn't anymore.
Yeah.
I'm not going to stick around in this, I'm speaking glibly, but abusive relationship. Like,
well, yeah, and that's the thing is, like, I can't in good conscience say that I'm going to cancel my Netflix subscription because I'm not going to. Because
I don't have the ability to do that at the moment, but I'm not going to watch new things.
Exactly. They have so much content already that they're licensed for and everything that I'm going to be continuing to, like, utilize Netflix. But I'm with you. I am not confident in starting any new TV shows.
Because you enter into a contract with someone with a television show. And I understand, again, business. I understand that shows are canceled. Plenty of shows have been canceled. But the issue is they have such an unconventional model. They're not beholden to the old world. But for whatever reason, this one thing they've decided to just do. And it's because they don't care. And that's what it is. It's because they don't actually care about what they're doing or us. And like, again, you can blame COVID all you want to. That's just, you cannot convince me that's the case here. It's because they decided that something else could make them more money. And furthermore, this had room to grow.
There's definitely room to grow. This show, you mean? Yeah, it definitely had room to grow. And here's the thing. I am not like an expert in disease or anything, but I have this theory that if you just get all of the people together and quarantine them for 2 weeks before you start filming, you'd probably be fine.
The entire show takes place in an isolated location.
Exactly.
Outside. Predominantly outside.
But I'm saying that for like lots of shows that have and will continue to suffer for this, because I'm like, there has to be a way to, and especially with something like the Society where it's all young kids, they don't have their own kids, or like mostly they don't have husbands and wives and stuff. They're not leaving people behind. It's like summer camp. I feel like it would be okay.
This has happened a few times recently, and again, COVID, blah, 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 but it was renewed. It's not like they canceled it. It's not like it came and then just didn't have the audience. It was enough to cancel. And like I said, it could have grown. Like, this is the kind of thing that could have caught on, and it could have done, especially, I mean, there's so much happening right now. I mean, this was a show about society and how it works. Well, it's also, and the creator said he had 5 seasons planned.
Yeah, I think it would have been just like when Riverdale went on Netflix after the first season, and they were, because it was like right on the cusp of when it made the CW made that deal with Netflix that their stuff would go up like 10 days after the end of the season, and like Riverdale exploded in a way that it didn't when it was just on the air. And I think this could have been like that, where it's like someone just like, it needed like just a little bit more to like really get.
Well, I mean, it had plenty of time. It was a Netflix show. It's not like it was coming to Netflix.
No, I know, but I think another season would have bumped it up to that extra place. It just is very frustrating. I agree with you.
It really, Santa Clarita Diet was one thing.
Well,
Sense8 was one thing. And it's like, and even going back to the Sense8 thing, it kind of goes to show you how full of shit they are, because they canceled Sense8 and there was like this huge outcry and people wanted more. And they were like, no, we can't do that. We're sorry. And then there was more outcry and they were like, no. And they wrote like a nicer, like longer letter to be like, we understand how you feel, but we're not going to do it. Yeah. And then there was more outcry and then they just did it.
And
so it's proof that they can. They can do whatever the fuck they want. They just, like I said, they've decided there's something shinier around the corner that they can chase after. And it like I said, it makes me feel not valued. It makes there is nothing but streaming services. There is nothing but content. I'm not canceling.
There's 10 hours of fucking Chris Evans with a beard on Apple TV. You think we won't leave you? Like,
well, it's like I'm not canceling it today.
Yeah,
but I mean, noted.
No, I definitely agree. Especially because the thing that's the most frustrating, and it's the most frustrating about Santa Clarita Diet specifically, but it applies to the Society as well. Those shows ended on humongous cliffhangers.
It's not even open-ended. It's not even like there could have been more.
No.
Like The Magicians. It's like...
Yeah, exactly. Humongous cliffhangers that we will never have answers for. And that is the most frustrating part about it. Because that brings me back to like the last thing on network TV that I was super pissed about, which is Pushing Daisies. Because that also ended on a pretty huge cliffhanger. And we never got closure for that either. And it's like, part of it's my fault for getting invested in these really high concept television shows, but it's also like, I don't understand why you can't just like let people have things. Like, we had to suffer through 9 years of Game of Thrones, and you can't throw me a bone with a Santa Clarita Diet movie,
which is something NBC actually has been very good for
Mm-hmm.
between, 30 Rock and Parks and Rec
Yeah.
and even The Good Place. I mean,
as friends, even
well,
though
that was a different world.
That was
and
a different world,
also
but
a mega
even still,
hit.
yeah.
But I mean, Amy Poehler mentioned that there were several occasions where she got on a flight with Parks and Rec being canceled.
Yeah.
And when she landed, she got word it was renewed.
Yeah.
And so it just is something that NBC at the very least sees things through.
Yeah.
And I don't know. This was really, this is a really tough pill for me to swallow. And I have this delusion that it's going to go somewhere that I could go to. I think it would be perfect for HBO Max. To be quite
I agree.
honest,
And they're
building
hungry hippoing up content right now.
But it's at this point, it's like another Pretty Little Liars reboot spinoff thing. Like,
I don't know.
Anyways, Enola Holmes.
Mm-hmm.
You asked me about it. It was one of those that kind of came out of nowhere for me. And at first I was kind of like, And then I saw the people and I saw like a commercial or something. I was like, oh, that looks cute. And so I sat down and watched it. And good. It was good.
I liked it a lot.
Yeah. It's a thing that we've asked for a lot recently, where it's like we've gotten to a point with movies where every movie was like a tentpole blockbuster, like blah, blah, blah. And I was like, what happened to just like good movies?
Yeah.
Like just like kind of like a solid, like middle of the road, like, where's the $35 million budgets and stuff? And
definitely.
This could have been expensive. I couldn't find how much it was in my very limited Googling, but I didn't feel like money was bleeding off the screen the way I do with some of the other.
Like it was very nicely set designed.
Very nicely.
I can't imagine it was like.
And they had money where they needed it.
Exactly.
There were several, nice shots and stuff. And
well, Will said there was like a close up of a train going by, and he goes, "That was questionable CGI." And I was like,
"Oh, I thought it was charming."
Yeah.
No, it gave me that like Murder on the Orient Express kind of. I'm firmly on the record as liking shitty CGI,
but mediocre CGI.
But yeah, I really did like this. Did you have anything broadly you wanted to say, or?
I mean, broadly, I really liked the whole cast.
Mm-hmm.
I think, and Will made a joke on Twitter last night that he was like, he's a hipster Millie Bobby Brown fan because we watched that show with her and Mira Sorvino called Intruders that was on BBC. So we've liked her even before Stranger Things, which was not too long after that. But I think she's actually so good because I feel like
I thought her acting here was medium.
I think she's so good. And I think
she was giving me Emma Watson here.
Okay, that's fair. I am a lot more forgiving of Emma Watson than you are, despite the fact that neither one of us thinks she was properly cast as Belle. But I don't know. I thought she was really cute here. And I think this was like a really good in the middle role because she's like 16 and...
Is Millie?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I think she was 15 when they were filming, but she is right now 16. But I think that this is the type of role that's appropriate for a 16-year-old after you have this juggernaut of what some would say is like a kind of one-note performance over the course of 3 seasons so far. She doesn't get to do a ton on Stranger Things. She's often in peril. Mm-hmm. And so I really liked just that she was able to like have a nice time. She was just like having fun in this movie.
And also a good place to cut your teeth as a producer at 16.
Oh my God, right? I was like so pumped when we saw the credits start and it was like executive producer Millie Bobby Brown. I was like, get it, girl. But yeah, I just thought it was really cute. And I... like, Will did not recognize Sam Claflin as Mycroft. Mm-hmm. He was like, that one's in the Hunger Games, right? And I was like, yep.
That felt like a weird use of Sam Claflin.
I thought so, too.
I was having a hard time pegging the character because I was like, is this the villain?
Well, no, but Mycroft is like kind of a prig.
Is he real?
Yeah.
He's okay.
He's Sherlock's brother in IRL, yeah.
I have a familiarity, I can...
IRL, no, like in the books.
What you mean.
In the books.
I know how to say the phrase, the Hound of the Baskervilles. Okay. It's like, I have a familiarity with Holmes, but I'm not an expert.
So we also, it made us...
Was Mycroft in the Robert Downey Jr. movies?
Yeah, it's Stephen Fry. He's not always, like, villainous, but he is in the Sherlock TV show.
Okay.
The one with Cumberbatch and
I just
Martin
didn't make
Freeman.
a mental note.
Yeah. So he's kind of villainous in the TV show, but he's just such a dick in this movie, which surprised me a little because in the Robert Downey Jr. movies, he's kind of like foppish. And then in the TV show, he's just sort of like sinister, but he's not actually doing bad things. But he was like mean in this.
I kind of liked it.
I didn't dislike it.
yeah.
It just was odd.
I kind of liked it. I thought the family dynamic was interesting. I actually liked Henry Cavill a lot as Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah.
I'm a fine Henry Cavill fan. I think he's kind of a jerk, but he pulled off charming Sherlock Holmes.
That's
better
correct.
than 3-4 Superman movies.
Yeah. That is correct. What he did not pull off was the Victorian clothing because it
was comical.
He's the wrong size for that era.
They cut to, I think it was when he was on The Office with Enola.
Yeah.
And he had on like his vest or something and his like
I could hear the seams screaming for help.
The shoulder to waist ratio. It was very
just like that's not the typical ratio of a man in Victorian England who like maybe has meat once a month. Like
and I mean he is like comically chiseled.
It's
like how he wasn't Gaston. I don't.
Oh man, that would have been so good. Swap them. Luke Evans in this.
Actually, I mean, but
oh brother, that's hilarious.
He was really great, which was odd for me to be like, oh, Henry Cavill's here. Thank God.
It was a really lovely performance. Apparently, though, the Arthur Conan Doyle estate sued the production because he was too nice.
Because he had emotion. I saw that one. Because he had emotions. And according to them, that was not introduced into the canon. Did you read the rest of it?
No.
Yeah.
I saw it and I rolled my eyes and then I stopped.
Sherlock Holmes having emotions was not introduced into the Holmes canon until like 1937 or something. And so that's still under copyright. It's not public domain, so he has to be emotionless.
Wow.
Which I mean, maybe they have a reason for doing.
Well, I also feel like that's such a subjective thing to claim because I don't think you can argue that Robert Downey Jr.'s Sherlock Holmes is emotionless.
Didn't they also try to sue Robert Downey Jr.'s because it made it seem too gay or something?
I mean, it's pretty gay.
I think they did. I think they might just be cantankerous.
They might be. Because the other thing is, like, in the BBC
Stuffy
Sherlock,
and British? the Sir Arthur Conan Doyle estate?
Surely not. No, but the BBC Sherlock, he's like a sociopath. Which is, I feel like, maybe more offensive than having emotions, but whatever.
It was pretty welcome here. This is also based on a series of books from 2006 2010. I like that it was aimed at like teenagers.
Yep.
It was throwing me a little bit tonally because the movie gets real serious a few times.
It does.
In a way that I was like, oh, I didn't know we were going here. Because she starts off pretty girlish.
Yeah.
And she grows the fuck up over the course of...
I think it's less girlish and more just sheltered.
Well, very young.
Yeah.
Childish.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would be curious to know what young people or people of the age would think.
I would also, at the risk of going back on the conversation we just had about Netflix, although if they didn't initially produce it, it's possible, but I would love this to be a franchise. I
would too. Millie's interested, and it feels like so completely engineered for that.
Yeah.
I'm astonished that no one else has managed to produce a shared universe. I think it's such an interesting and good idea. And I think the two faults are, number one, they're overthinking it.
Oh, yeah.
Number two, they're more focused on the finale or the fireworks factory than the actual. It's like you have to have a good product first before you can add to it. Because I was just watching this and I was like, I don't know what other characters I would throw in here, but I was just thinking very sort of like League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
Sure. Well, it's like, also, there's nothing saying you can't work in an actual Sherlock Holmes movie into this too. And while
like a spinoff,
yeah, while we're at it, I forget her name again already. Edith Susan Wacoma. I would like to spend a moment talking about what I felt was bonkers sexual tension between her and Henry Cavill. She was the one that ran the like karate school, the black girl.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't pick up on that.
They had that whole meeting in the middle when they were like talking about Enola, and I was like,
Yeah, I didn't pick up on that.
I was like, I could use more of this specific dynamic. It was working really good for me.
So my biggest issue with this, and it's more of a me issue, I think, than a movie issue, but these types of mysteries frustrate me.
Okay.
Because how can you ever be certain? Like,
when she's like trying to solve the cipher, and she's like, it must be the way the letters are arranged this way.
Like, I get like a bundle of letters,
Sure.
and I'm like, genuine class. That must mean that class we attended in 3rd grade. And meanwhile, you were like pointing me to Alec Guinness and the Star Wars movie you had like hid a thing in. And it just, I would, because don't they even do that on Parks and Rec once? Like, where they accidentally stumble upon like the 43rd clue. And they're just like,
so it's like Leslie and Ben Valentine's Day, and he's supposed to meet her at like their favorite spot or something, but it's like a 48 clue mystery, and Ron is helping him but he's like, I don't like puzzles. He's like trying to throw them off the scent. I
just remember they like accidentally stumble upon one of the later clues. And that's the only way they were able to solve it.
Yeah,
because she's like the chrysanthemums, and then she finds the money, and then she's like on to step 2, and I'm like, meanwhile, there's like 7 more messages hidden in the house.
Probably.
Like, whatever you do, don't get on a train on this date.
Burnt Gorham is definitely going to chase you off an aqueduct.
And so that was giving me a ton of anxiety, how much she was just certain.
So I do agree with that, though it is like a Sherlock Holmes trademark.
It's a staple of the genre.
Because that's, and especially in the BBC show, which we watched an episode of it last night after we finished with the movie, but they do that a lot. It's like constantly like, well, it must be the fingernails.
Now that we've solved that.
You're like, we weren't talking about fingernails. We were talking about something else. And they're like, no, the fingernails. And it's just like, whatever.
So yeah, the boy was really cute.
So cute.
I was waiting for him to be gay. I really believed he was.
Like
and then,
the character.
Yeah.
Oh.
And then by the end of it, I was kind of like, oh, okay.
Oh, I thought it was cute.
Oh, it was fine. I do like that if
I think the Sir Arthur Conan Doyle estate might have had even more bones to pick.
Well,
if he
he's
was
not
gay.
from
No, I know, but
them, yeah.
it's still the like IP. He's not IP, but yeah. I mean,
Enola's not.
No, but I have a feeling that if they were that mad about something not according to the canon, they would have as Sherlock having emotion, I think they would have maybe kicked up a fuss about that as well.
Well, there were no gay people in Victorian England.
Well, of course there were. They were everywhere.
There were no gay people in Victorian England.
Statistically speaking, I think that's impossible.
That's a Western phenomenon. Well, Victorian England. This is as Western as it comes. But yeah, I thought his title. They had a lot of fun with it.
They did.
The Viscount Tewkesbury, the Marquis of Basilweather.
Yeah, they did keep saying Marquess, and I was like, y'all are so English.
And they did keep, they were going back and forth between like Vicomte and Viscount.
Yeah.
And like all of that.
They were not pronouncing anything properly in French.
No. And I did write down in the middle, well, I care about his hair.
It looked good after the haircut.
Oh, it did, yeah.
It was cute.
But she was just like, do you care about your hair? And he was like, not particularly. Yeah, it was fun. I really would have, I think I would have enjoyed it as a teenager. I think I would have enjoyed the mystery and the adventure, and especially with the setting, like, because when they were trying to send her to boarding school, I was like, yeah, I mean, I know she's 16. I was like, but in Victorian England, I mean, that's practically a spinster.
That is practically an old maid. She should have already been married.
She could have just like hung out. And I also appreciated that she had a moment because she narrates, like she flea bags all over this.
Well, it was the director.
Oh,
yeah.
And then there you go. It had a very
I thought it had a flair,
a hip tone to it. Yeah, she narrates and interacts with the audience throughout it, and I appreciated there was a slight back and forth with the corset where. Because that's actually one of my least favorite, not least favorite, but I'm over the like corsets hurt or are annoying.
They're actually not supposed to hurt.
They're not
wearing them properly.
Yes! And so they kind of touched on this where she was like, wow, corsets are not like the most comfortable. They do have their blah, 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 blah. And it's like, I mean, it's good for posture and stuff. And in some ways it takes, I mean, we both have had a corset on in this room, but in some ways it takes some of the hard work away from you.
Out of sitting up straight.
Because you just kind of get to like...
Yeah, it's pretty good.
You could just... It's like in Cougar Town when she finally gets her tight jeans on and she can't collapse in them. She's like...
She's like one of those little thumb...
Yeah, she like
things.
loosens all of her joints and her jeans are just like... They like keep her upright. But I did want to do a huge shout out to both Fiona Shaw, because I think that she is a beautiful, wonderful, friendly, warm woman that is constantly playing this role. And it's a very thankless role.
It's just because she's got that face.
Yeah, it's a thankless role.
It is.
That needs to be played. And I feel like those type of character actors don't get enough credit.
Overbearing, matronly spinster wench.
And her like weird crush on Mycroft.
No, Sherlock.
Mycroft.
It was Mycroft. That's right.
Ew, could you imagine on Sherlock? No, it was Mycroft.
Yeah, no,
that got her going.
With his stupid mustache. All of the little drawings that Enola was making of him were hilarious.
Also, Francis Delator.
I love Francis Delator.
Always a good time. I mean, durable, reliable, like...
She's great. She's 76.
Is she that old?
She
wow.
is. I looked her up last night. She's still gigging. I love her so much.
We're going to transition probably into the spoiler conversation, the spoiler talk of this episode. So if you are trying to listen to this without being spoiled,
we're going to
bail out now.
We're going to spoil you.
I was so endeared to her when she was like, if you see because she knew who Enola was. And then she was like, if you see my grandson before I do, tell him that I love him and stuff. Yeah. And she just, and I loved that conversation she had. And
after the treehouse.
Yeah. True to form. I mean, any good mystery, like any good villain will have, she's the villain in case you haven't guessed from context. But any good villain is going to have a proper motivation.
Yeah.
And the way she clarified the estate, where because she described it as being given to the family, that the family was given this part of England to protect and to preserve. And I really like that. And I like the notion of going even into an environmental, place of like being like a good stewards to the earth.
That's how English entailments work. That's why it's like in Pride and Prejudice, it can only pass to a man. It's because like the crown entails land to these prominent families, and it is for that reason.
And so then what precisely was the conflict? He was going to be a lord and he was going to vote in favor of what?
Votes for all men.
Okay.
Not only the nobility.
The nobility. Okay.
Because that Will had the same confusion. He was like, well, votes for women. And I was like, no.
I thought we were heading into the suffragette place.
That is what Helena Bonham Carter was doing.
Okay.
That's like the next wave. I looked it up. Women in England did not get the right to vote until at least 1918.
I was going to say because of Penny Dreadful.
Yeah.
Because the suffragettes were
And then I just in my head kept going, no, votes for women.
No, votes for women! No, votes for women! No, votes for women!
No, votes for women!
Oh, we're all saying the same thing. No votes for women. No, I have a period between no and votes for women. That's disgusting.
No, votes for women.
But so that was basically a turning point where it like was before just a random man on the street couldn't vote in England. And because he was so young and because his father thought that way too, he was like, no, everybody should have a vote.
That was giving me the gay vibes, and then the pressed flowers, and then the hair.
He was a Victorian dandy. Of course he was pressing flowers.
I mean, you never had a go at a friend under the sheets?
Did you grow up with boy cousins, Lord Tywin? Sons of your father's bannermen, squires, stable boys?
Of course.
And you never...
No.
Not once? Not in any way?
Never.
I congratulate you upon your restraint. But it's a natural thing, two boys having a go at each other beneath the sheets.
Perhaps High Garden has a high tolerance for unnatural behavior.
Not once.
Oh,
Never.
man. Never.
That was a good Charles dance on my part. So, yeah, who amongst us? Pole swallower, through and through.
Sword swallower.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Pole fancy is the...
So offensive.
It's the Family Guy, the dandy balls and legs spread and penis butt. We've lost control. This episode was never on the tracks. Enjoy your Enola Holmes review, fuckers. Like,
this is what we think of Netflix.
Oh boy, I don't know. It's chaos. That's the other thing. Is it just like the news kept catching my eye, and I was trying so hard to ignore, but it was
no, it's bad. Everything's bad right now. I would venture to say that this movie was a nice little ray of sunshine. I had a great time with it. I want more, and I liked everybody in it. And Helena Bonham Carter, we didn't really talk about her. I think she's underrated.
Really?
Just in general.
I think she's properly rated.
I don't think so. I think she's better than people think she is.
Do people think she's not good?
I don't think people think she's not good. I think she had too much of a Tim Burton period.
Oh, okay.
Because
I think I understand what you mean.
It's the same thing for me with him and her and Johnny Depp. I just think they all got stuck in a rut. But I was like watching this, and not tonally or content-wise at all, but I was like, there's Marla Singer.
Well, I was thinking about how kind of full circle it must have been for her and how well she's handled all the different stages of her career.
Yeah. I agree.
And it is thanks to her that we have that fabulous Bellatrix costume.
Yeah.
Because the costume designer wanted to put her in a smock.
Ugh.
And
just let her wear her prison clothes the whole time?
Yeah.
Ugh.
And Helena was like, oh, I only
Absolutely not.
She was like, I only have so many more years. She was like, you're putting me in BDSM. Literally, is what she...
I mean, it's like...
And it's a fantastic look.
Yeah,
it's iconic.
It's also like hard implied that she's like banging Voldemort at every turn. I like don't... in a smock?
Yeah, no. I think in the book there's no real attention to detail on what she's wearing.
Not for her. I don't remember, no, but now I feel weird reading them again, so.
There's attention to detail elsewhere. That we know.
Yikes.
If we know one thing. No, I thought she was good. I totally get what she was doing with Enola Holmes, but she really, really left her unprepared.
Yeah.
And I want to know what she was doing that she dipped the fuck out like she did. And because it almost was mean at the end when she was in the room.
Yeah, I mean, I think...
I'm curious. There's got to be more there, do you think?
I definitely think there's more there. And I think it is the type of thing where, like, I honestly might read these books now.
Yeah.
And also, I have a feeling that she has to still be a character in the further books. So I would be interested to know as well.
It felt... like I said, especially that meeting they had at the end of the story, it felt incomplete. I was like, this does not feel like
I think that she was obviously working with suffragettes in England, which I think could have been dangerous. And so I think she left.
Well, again, they were beating them on Penny Dreadful.
Yeah. And so I think she left Enola so that Enola wouldn't get dragged into it. In a way, but then it was like, I think she didn't realize the harm. I don't think she realized the extent of the harm she was putting Enola in by leaving her in the care of Mycroft.
By the time it was over, it felt more like a mental illness parable where I was like, we have no reason to believe that she was inconsistent
as a parent up till then.
And so it was, I had some tonal issues.
I mean, also, I feel like sort of the Victorian era was kind of like, well, you're 16. We're done.
Yeah. I loved the maid. More maids. The maids are always great. Maids and nuns. Unless, I mean, obviously not a mean nun.
No, but like the nun on Cursed. And then the maid from David Copperfield.
I love when she was like, she's a very kind child. She even paid me before she left.
I know.
It just, yeah.
She was, though, that was my one gripe, is she was running through money. I was like, how much money did her mother leave
We were
her?
in an Ingrid Goes West sort of place where I was
We really were, where I was like, you have acquired 3 full gowns and all the accoutrements thereof, and you still have money.
Maybe it's like in Eurotrip where like 43 cents got her to.
I mean, it certainly was like more money back in the day, but London was notoriously expensive, just like it is in the modern times. And that was what I was like, you had to get like new lace-up boots, you've got all new underwear, 3 gowns, that hairpiece extension, she had jewelry for every outfit.
And more than one person was too ready to kill this young girl.
Yeah. 16-year-old
It
child.
caught me off guard.
Yeah.
I did like it. I did like it a lot.
There just were a couple of things like that where I was like,
so
I'm not sure.
I think that that's sufficient for Enola Holmes.
You're really hitting that.
Because if I say it with my actual voice, you're going to be like, it's actually Holmes. Because I would say Holmes.
Well, that's fine. What's the name of that show right behind you?
Wolf?
Oh, you didn't say it that time.
Teen Wolf?
Because you usually say werewolf.
Werewolf.
Yeah.
Oh, werewolf. Yeah. Yeah, no, you wouldn't let me have it. Actually, you're not the one that let me have it with werewolf.
No, it was Scott.
Some things you correct me on, and other things I'm like, why wouldn't you tell me? Like, what was the one?
Myriad?
No, that one I know. You misled me.
You can do it both ways.
Rotoni?
Rotini.
Yeah, but you never said any for like the longest time, and you finally said, that's not what that word is. And so I asked my mom, I was like, why did you never tell me that I called it Rotoni? And Mom was like, oh, because that's what I thought it was. So that one I got, that's all Mom. But so yeah, that was the Enola Holmes episode.
You're like adding more consonants to it.
The rural juror.
This has been a messy episode.
It is.
We're really glad that you guys have all stuck with us in our time of transition. The next episode that you listen to after this will also have a video component, so you can check it out on
That's certainly
YouTube.
the plan.
It will. I will make it happen.
Nothing has gone wrong this year. We have no reason to believe that it'll be anything other than smooth sailing.
Look, I'm just gonna like wrestle this into existence.
You're gonna manifest it.
I will.
Well, if we want to end on a positive note, Saturday Night Live is coming back October 3rd, and nobody has left the cast.
What?
Yep.
That's
Kate,
kind of fun.
Cecily, Keenan, they're all back.
Awesome. Excited.
So...
okay, well, even though we have a hard time endorsing them right now, Enola Holmes is streaming on Netflix. If you'd like to check it out, I think we both recommend it. Other than that, you can follow us on Twitter @SoI'mWatching, Instagram @SoI'mWatchingThisShow. As we mentioned, we are also in the process of transitioning to video, so you can start watching our videos. Fingers crossed, knock on wood, October 2nd. We are coming with The Craft for our witchy October schedule, mostly witchy October schedule. And then other than that, you can rate, review, and subscribe on iTunes or wherever you listen. And that's it for us. Bye.